Lizzie is in Hackney. Lizzie, good evening.
Good evening to you, Daniel. Thanks for taking my call. I'll try and be as brief as the last caller. I'm sure I won't be. Anyway, I'm just wondering if I've got any recourse. I went to a chain store, high street chain store. I was accused of stealing one of their £1 carrier bags. As I walked out of the store, the woman said, "Have you paid for that?" I said, "Yes, I have. You can check." And I continued walking. Then she shouted out across the store to the security, "She's stolen a bag. She's stolen a bag."
Sorry, who is she? I might have missed what you were saying.
Sorry, the shop worker.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it was a self-service till. And the security guard was fine. He was like, "If you paid?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Okay." But I said, "Actually, no, I need to speak to the manager." So the manager was there as well. And she said, "Have you paid?" I said, "Yes, I told your assistant." And this woman was still over the other end, saying she hasn't paid. Customers were looking around. People were filming. Anyway, cut a long story short, the manager said to her, "She has paid. Look, it's on her receipt. She has paid." I said, "Are you going to apologise to me?" She says, No, it's my job. Just doing my job." I then wrote to the head office thinking that the customer service was going to be sympathetic, and their response was, "Oh, well, she didn't do that." And I said, "Well, she did. I've got a recording of it." And then they wrote back to me.
Why have you got a recording?
Because at the moment it became an issue. When I sensed something was going wrong, I went with my camera and I spoke to the manager. I said, "Look, I'm recording this for my own safety. I'm just saying that I spoke to that assistant over there." And then I went over to the assistant with her. I said, to go over what had happened, and it was all admitted. Yeah. So I've got it on camera. So their head office were only concerned that, "Oh, you're not allowed to film." I said, "I was filming for my protection, but, this isn't about that." And then I said, "Are you going to do anything about it?" I said, "I thought I'd been racially profiled, in all honesty." And I said to them, "Look, in where this shop is, I work in a community centre. All the local people know me. If the video goes out, it looks like I've stolen something when I haven't. Have you got anything to say?" They weren't interested, and they just said, "Oh, no, we will escalate it." I said, "Okay, let's escalate this," and they didn't. They said, "Oh, yeah, we did, but there's no
Lizzie,
proof."
what's your question?
Have I got any recourse?
Okay. Until a few years ago, I'd have said yes. People who were accused of stealing in supermarkets would have, when they didn't, would have a rock-solid claim for defamation, for slander. Yeah. Which is saying something about you, a full statement that damages your good name and saying it in front of others. Saying you stole that bag when you didn't and shouting it across the room and other people seeing and filming is just the sort of thing that a few years ago would have got you typically about £500 in compensation for defamation. But there's a catch. A few years ago, the law changed and it introduced an extra threshold for when people sue for defamation. And essentially the law changed to say, the law, don't expect people to sue every time they're insulted. And the new legal test is that you've got to show the accusation caused serious harm to your reputation. And that's a fairly high bar. Embarrassment on its own isn't enough. So the only two situations where you'd be likely to be able to show serious harm to your reputation, Lizzie, are number one, if you're a celebrity. I assume you're not, but tell me if you are.
No.
No. Okay. And number two, if the video went viral, or if you're in a community where everybody was looking at it and whispering about you behind your back, and you'd need to prove that was the case. Do you think you could prove that was the case?
No, but obviously, people filmed it, but I haven't come across it yet.
Yeah. So I'm surprised that head office didn't apologise and offer you a gift card or something of that nature. But legally, you won't have a claim for defamation here because I don't think you'll be able to establish serious damage to your serious damage to your reputation. As unfair as that is. All I can say, Lizzie, is good on you for paying for the bag, because I know there are many people who don't and do steal those things.